Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good afternoon. Welcome back. It is 7 minutes after 4 o'clock. Glad to have you with us this afternoon. It is a little bit rainy, but that's kind of good news because that rain is kind of getting the ice out of there. And wherever there is ice, hopefully that has become water and you don't have to worry about it anymore. I hope that your power's on. If it's not, we'll cover some more of that coming up at about 4:30 or so as Nashville Electric Service has announced they're having a press conference. We're carrying that for you live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Without further ado, however, we scheduled this conversation a couple of weeks ago, and I'm very excited to have it because, as you well know, 2026 is the 250th birthday of these United States of America. And a good friend of mine, Brenda Willis, called me some weeks ago, maybe some months ago, and said, I've got to introduce you to someone. You need to have her on the radio. We need to talk about this throughout the course of 2026 because it is the 250th anniversary, 250th birthday. And I can think of no better person to discuss the importance of our country, our freedoms, our liberties, and how they generate from God through the Constitution and to us than a woman by the name of Joni Bryan. And Brenda Willis and Joni Bryan join us in studio. Hello, ladies. How are y'all?
Great. I'm great, Matt. How are you?
Brenda, talk to me about this fine young woman that you've brought to me.
You know what's funny? As I was sitting here, I was trying to figure out when I first met you. We were invited to perform at one of your 917, I don't know, galas, I guess. Yeah. Maybe at Ming Wang's house?
I think it was Dr. Wang's house.
It was just such a fun night, and we were just introduced to so many amazing people. And I remember my kids sitting around, I don't even remember who, and them telling us about the St. Paul's Chapel. And they told, have you heard the miracle of St. Paul's Chapel? And they're like, no. And so they're all sitting around somebody or other and told them that story. But I'm just really here not to say anything other than I want to introduce you to Joni Bryan, and she has such an amazing organization, ministry, I would call it, and such a calling on her life to do something in this country that's very significant. So, Joni, take it away.
Okay, right. Well, thank you.
Joni, talk to me about, we talked briefly over the phone about the inspiration behind the 917 Society. For those that don't know the organization and how you came to create it, just talk to us about it.
Okay, all right. Well, I was living in downtown Nashville, just gotten divorced, and I was working at a retirement community. And one of the residents there had ran for governor. And one day we were talking about a court case, and he pulled out a pocket constitution, and he put it in my face, and he said, my dear, when is the last time you read your constitution? And I said, I never have. And that started me questioning why. I couldn't understand why. I have an education. My degree's in biology and chemistry, and I was headed to medical school, but I ended up getting married and had a baby and became a social worker instead. And so I was trying to figure out, why have I never read it? I remember in 8th grade, Mrs. Alexander's class, having bits and pieces of the Bill of Rights, and that was it. Mm-hmm. And so I started studying, and I started asking questions, and I was also driving Uber on the side when Uber first came out. And so I would put pocket constitutions in my Uber, and when I would pick up people in Nashville, I would give them a constitution. I would ask them, have you ever read it? And 99 out of 100 have never read it. And it was a lot of fun because there were many nights at 2 a.m. when I was doing late nights. They'd think, Dolly Parton's picking me up, so we had a lot of fun. But I learned a lot, and so I learned about a federal mandate. It's 108-447. It says all schools, K through 12, all universities, and all federal employees are to have a program on the Constitution on or around September 17th every year. And guess what? It rarely happens. Mm-hmm. And I never had Constitution Day. Did you guys have Constitution Day in school?
I don't remember it.
Okay. No. Every time I asked that question, like, no, we didn't. And so I thought, wow, what if we had a free program? I had been married to a public school teacher for many years, and I was around the kids, and, of course, with my social work background, too. And I thought, what if we had a free program? So I would go to social study teachers' conferences and ask questions. And I said, if we gave you a free program, would you like this? And they were like, yes, overwhelmingly. And so that's how we got started. And I have to tell a little quick thing. When I first started, I was living downtown, and I went to see my congressman because I had no money, no connections, nothing. And I had never been involved in anything that was any remotely political. And so I went to see him, and he said to me, he said, Miss Bryan, he said, nobody cares about the Constitution. And when I left his office, I was in tears. And I just pulled a 14-hour shift.
This is a congressman?
A congressman, yes. U.S. congressman. And I left there. And
I want to ask you who, but I'm not going to.
You can guess, probably. And so I left there, and I thought, I can't do this. I mean, how am I going to do this? And then he did something you don't ever do. He made a Southern woman mad. Because I said, here he is drawing $170-something thousand, and I just worked a 14-hour shift, and I said, your oath is to uphold the Constitution, And so I thought, I'm going to show him. And that's how we got going. And so
that's
then
excellent.
I ended up meeting a Senator Roberts, and I really thought he was going to shoot me down. And so I told him all about the project. He was a state senator, and he got so excited. And he and Diane got involved, and that really helped me get the confidence to start talking to more people. And then I met Mark Green and just a whole lot of different people.
About what time?
2016.
Okay.
And our first year to distribute constitutions. And the whole premise of the program is really simple. We just want our kids to read it for themselves. It's that simple. We give them their very own copy to carry with them, and we want them to read it for themselves. There's nothing in it, no agenda, no bias. It's the original, wording. It's got the Declaration, the Constitution, the amendments, and the last page is the oath of citizenship. Because if you're born here, you don't take an oath. And we want our kids to know the oath of citizenship. And so it's really, really simple. And so the first year, I drove around middle Tennessee and out of my little Chevy Cruze, I'd Uber, and then I'd drop off constitutions to schools. But then this last year, we gave out over 1 million in all 50 states.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, how in the world did you go from riding around in an Uber, giving out, to random people that you pick up for an Uber ride, constitutions, to over 1 million in all 50 states in that length of time? That has to take a tremendous amount of hard work and tenacity.
It's not me. It's all of us. The 917 Society is a volunteer group, and we have so many wonderful, wonderful donors and people involved. Like she mentioned, Dr. Ming Wang, Lee Beeman has been a big help. They're our Founders Club president and vice president. We've got just so many wonderful folks. A lot of our legislators are involved. Some of them even deliver the constitutions to the schools themselves. And now we have groups all over the country. We have AMVETS, we have Moms for Liberty, we have DAR, SAR, all these different community groups that help to get them to the schools. And of course, schools can order direct also on our website. And so that is our focus, is just making sure 8th graders, we focus on 8th grade because in the U.S. curriculum, that's when they're supposed to have Constitution in depth. And so that is our focus, to make sure every 8th grader every year gets their Constitution, because eventually all of our citizens will have read it.
It is. I mean, it occurs to me, and, I gravitate, sadly, I'm like Benjamin Franklin, I gravitate to pessimism. But I think pessimists are more prepared for the worst, and they don't expect the best. But whatever. But it just occurs to me that it's a crying shame that our schools aren't already doing this, but they're not. I mean, and the reality is that you filled a void and filled a need that must happen for our youngsters to understand the basic the building blocks of freedom and individual liberty, and where all that comes from, and how it is guaranteed and enshrined in the supreme law of the land.
Absolutely. And the reason we want to make sure they place it, we give it to them in their hand, because when he put that Constitution in my face and then I held it, it made the Constitution real to me. It made it tangible. It wasn't just this document in Washington behind a glass. It made it something that it's mine. And so I had a sense of ownership. And that's what we want to create for our children, is a sense of ownership of this document. It's their document.
So how, Joni, do you get to the schools? How does that all work?
Well, we have online. You can go online, and it says order constitutions. You can schools can order direct. 8th grade schools can order direct. And the money we raise is to print and distribute. And so it does not cost the schools a dime. They just order for the school. Or if you have a school in your area that you want to make sure they get them, you can reach out to the school, let them know about the program, and you can even order them and take them to them. So that's where we have a lot of groups like the AMVETS and the Moms for Liberty and all the different groups that actually take them to the schools and help us in that way, because I can ship them a lot easier to a big group, and then they distribute to all the schools.
So forgive me for my simplistic questions, but I was publicly educated in Georgia, so you'll have to catch me up. Tell everyone why the organization is called the 917 Society.
Well, because I wanted it to be all about Constitution Day, which is 9/17, September 17th.
Right. And the reception has been obviously incredible. Do you get a chance to talk to the teachers? Do you get a chance to talk to the professionals that get their hands on copies? Do you get to kind of see the fruit of your labor in terms of the...
Absolutely. And we have online, on top of giving them the Constitution, we have resources. So we have a free resource page. And we just added some really cool lesson plans from one of our teachers, Alan Kessinger at Stewart's Creek Middle School. He's retired military, and he teaches 8th grade there. And he uses our Constitution as a textbook. And so we've got that available for anyone that wants to use it across the country. So we also have a classroom contest. So on our website, you can see the winners of the contest, and the kids really get into it. They love to, dress up or, do skits, different things, send us pictures, and we send them gift cards for the winning classes. So we do get to see that, and we get a lot of feedback from teachers. They love our resource page because it's just a one-stop, there's lesson plans, games, videos, quizzes, anything they want, and it's all free.
So how many times have you read the Constitution now, Johnny?
Oh, I'm all the time, and I don't have it memorized. I have people try to test me. I'm like, I don't have it memorized. I'm not good at memorizing, but I do read it. And there'll be times I'll watch Senate hearings, and I'll get it out, and I'll be reading. I'm thinking, that is not constitutional.
What do you hope is the greatest takeaway if a child does get their hands on it? I mean, is there anything in particular?
This is something that really, it made me cry last year. And I was in Starbucks, and I don't drink coffee, but I was getting one of those vanilla things. And so a young man came in, and he had a backpack. And I usually wear a pin that says 917. And he saw it, and he said, "Oh, 917." He said, he pulled out of his backpack the Constitution he got in 8th grade, and he was about 20 years old.
Oh, that's
and
good.
I just literally teared up because the teachers tell us that they love these Constitutions, and we've had children get upset when they've lost it or dropped it, and we get requests all the time, not just from the teachers for those children, but the children will take them home, and the parents will want them, or the older siblings will get them, and they'll come back and say, can we get some more? And so this year, with the 250th anniversary, we're going to be letting people order them on Amazon, and if you order them, that will help to fund our project, as well as people can donate, and we'll send you Constitutions if you'd like to have some.
We'll take a quick time out, and when we come back, we'll ask the two ladies about the 250th birthday and what we are doing to celebrate across the country, and what Joni is specifically doing to celebrate as the 917 Society. We'll be back in a moment. It's the Matt Murphy Show, 20 minutes after the hour on Super Talk. All right, Super Talk 99.7 WT, and we've got the press conference coming up in just a couple of minutes. Joni Bryan and Brenda Willis are in studio with us right now talking about the 917 Society, and what a wonderful organization it is, celebrating the Constitution and U.S. citizenship. I'm holding my pocket Constitution right here. The 917 Society is a wonderful educational 501c3, but y'all have got big plans for the 250th birthday of the United States of America. Joni, tell me about it.
Absolutely. Well, we are part of the America 250 Civics Coalition. We just got appointed to that, and Freedom 250. So we're real excited. But we're going to be going to New York City. And so a lot of people don't know this story, and this is a story that I didn't know until one night. And literally, I was woken up with the word St. Paul's Chapel, and I didn't know what it was. And so I was looking online, and I thought, what is St. Paul's Chapel? And I learned the story. And George Washington, when he was inaugurated, he walked from Federal Hall with his new Congress down to St. Paul's Chapel, and he prayed and dedicated this country to God. Well, when 9/11 happened, most of us remember those towers and how they fell. Well, when they fell, everything around was destroyed, but St. Paul's Chapel was in that shadow of the Twin Towers, and not a window was broken, not a stone was messed up, and they used that chapel for rescue. The rescue people would be fed and they would sleep there. And they call it the Miracle of St. Paul's Chapel. So we're going up to New York City on April 30th. We'll go that week. We're going to be doing some wonderful tours with Brenda and her group. And we're going to we're taking our own George Washington. Roger McCalman is going with us. And we're going to walk from Federal Hall to St. Paul's Chapel at noon on April 30th and rededicate this country to God.
That's excellent. That's great stuff.
And we've invited the president and his, staff, and so who knows what may happen. So we'll just wait and see. But we're going. A lot of our 917 folks are going, and we're going to go up there, and we're going to do that.
Are you inviting others to go with you? Or are you working on that?
Anybody that wants to go, they can go to our Facebook page and get the information off of it, or they can go to our website, and it has Washington's Walk on the website at 917society.org, and you can get all this great information about it.
Well, I look forward to, because I know you ladies and I were talking in the break, and I want to continue the conversation. I want to try to work with getting a group of Super Talk 99.7 WTN listeners to go, right? I mean, I think it would be awesome if we took like some Murphy minions up there and we went with you and just walked the walk along with you. That'd be so fabulous.
That. And what we're asking is we're getting the word out. At noon, once we rededicate the country to God, we want the churches, we want a joyful noise to go up to heaven, we want the bells to ring all over across the country, wherever anybody is, if they're in their car, if they're at home, we want them to sing, just for a sound to go up to the heavens.
Well, I know that if Brenda is helping you schedule the trip, it'll be a heck of a trip. I mean, and there'll be a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
And I've already got people... look, website, I want to go. Addie wants to go. Seriously, can we go?
Yes.
Hey, let us know if we can go. So we're gonna work it out. Y'all calm down. We're gonna get you all the information. We're gonna get you all the details. But just briefly tell people, just for the basic information, they go to the Facebook page. Is that the best place?
They can go to the Facebook page, 917 Society Facebook, and it'll be right there. And you can click on there. You can go ahead and get your deposit in to reserve your spot. It gives you the information about the tour. We'll be going up on Tuesday, coming back on Friday. We'll be touring a lot of other places there, but the chapel, that walk is the big thing that we're doing.
And let me tell you something, folks. Make it a last shot for New York. I mean, if you're like, I would never go to New York by myself. It's wonderful to go in a group of people where it's contained, where you've got there's structure around you, and you do all of that so well, Brenda. Anyway, so you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about travel. You don't have to worry about getting from here to there.
Right.
It's all taken care of for you. I love it. I love it. We'll talk more about that, Joni. It's such a pleasure to meet you.
Well, thank you so much.
And thank you so much for what you do, bringing the Constitution to our young people across America. It's a wonderful thing.
Thank you so much.
And it's good to see Brenda as well. And we'll talk to you guys again.
Sounds great.
All right, we got an NES press conference that's coming up in just a moment. So we'll take a short time out now. And I don't know if we'll get back to that or not. Let me see what. Hold on. All right, I'll tell you what. Short time out. Might have to break in to the timeout to get to this press conference that's supposedly happening sometime around right now. But we'll get to news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're going to break into that for just a moment. We are watching the start of the Nashville Electric Service press conference, which is happening right now.
Today, crews have whittled that outage area down to 27 square miles. We are glad to report that all of the public schools have power, and much thanks to Adrienne Battle for coordinating with us. We spent a lot of time making sure that we were prioritizing things as she needed, and she was very helpful. Customers need good information, and as a reminder, we are updating our restoration completion dates by zip code twice a day. Now let's talk about the latest status of crews working to get everyone back on. Our linemen have been working in ice, frigid temperatures, and today in the rain to get everyone back on. We have close to 1,800 line workers deployed this week, and they continue working in 14 to 16-hour shifts. Thanks to all of our peers and other power companies and contractors from Texas to Florida to Maryland and in between, who have sent crews to assist us. A big part of this restoration has been replacing damaged poles. We have 776 broken poles that we've found so far during our restoration efforts. We have replaced 406 of those. It typically takes between 8 and 10 hours for one crew to replace a pole. You can gain some efficiencies if you have several in a row, but it does take an enormous amount of time to replace a pole. And we have lots of those, obviously. I think most of you are aware that down trees have certainly wreaked havoc on our system and have been a major challenge. So we have 350 vegetation management team members that are still focused on cleaning up debris all over our system. Thanks to Mayor O'Connell for assisting us with support and coordination through Metro, including assistance from Metro Water, the Fire Department, MMPD, and NDOT, who has been integral. They have really cleared the roads so our workers can get to where they need to be restoring power. At the state level, we've received an enormous amount of coordination, assistance, and support from TDOT, TEMA, the National Guard, the Department of Agriculture, and at a federal level, FEMA and TVA have been helpful. So appreciate all these resources. TDOT similarly has helped clear roads so we can reach where we need to be working. Also, thanks to a volunteer group called Rubicon for clearing the way so that line workers can access areas to get power back on. So they've been busy with some pretty extensive effort and equipment. And then I want to thank our workforce, who has worked tirelessly since the beginning of this storm to restore power to our customers. They're passionate about our customers, and you can see it in how hard they work. Obviously, a restoration undertaking of this size comes packed with challenges, and Brandon Whitlock, our operations manager, is going to talk about some of those today. Brandon?
I didn't hear an apology. Did anybody hear an apology? Did anybody hear, hey, we're really sorry that this...
Good afternoon.
Just making sure.
I'd like to start out by saying a huge thank you to my fellow NES employees. You guys answered a very big call. You continue to fight through it. You've worked tireless hours. I'm super proud to be part of this team. Thank you to our municipal aid partners from our neighboring utilities who come in, stood in line with us and fought. It's been amazing. And thank you to all the contractors who come from all across the country.
Sound like
some of
conquering
the challenges
heroes.
that we're facing currently,
Proud
kind
to
of
be
a state of where we're at in the restoration process. As Teresa mentioned, we've continually onboarded additional line workers. We're currently somewhere around 1,800. One of the big asks for us as NES is how do we integrate 1,800 line workers in with our native 200 line workers. It's quite a stretch, as you've heard Brent talk about before. We've successfully done that. We've expanded our resources, integrated them in with us, and daily we work out a work plan for all of those resources so that we can execute that plan and restore power as quickly as we can. Currently, we've been working, of course, most important customers, critical care type resource outages, and then working down into largest outages first. As of this afternoon, our largest individual outage has less than 200 customers. So what that means is these crew sizes are starting to have to shrink down and split apart even smaller and smaller and smaller. So logistically, we've got a lot more moving pieces. We're developing those daily work plans, and we're hitting different areas all across town every day. Additionally, we have added to the attack of the largest customers we have now shifted some resources to attacking the smallest, the individual outage. So you're going to see a lot of the smaller buckets come into individual homes. We're going to be looking at the service wire specifically, the line that runs from our lines out on the street up to the home, up to the weatherhead. We've got a sample of that, and I'll talk about that just in a minute. Right now, those trucks that are hitting those individual calls, they're looking at your meter base, your service, and then our transformer to confirm that it's all intact. So if your meter's not working, they're going to repair what's there. If there's damage to your equipment, I'll go over just 1 second how to cover that. If there's damage on our side, they're repairing that and making it ready, so when we bring the main line back, that customer's going to be hot. So if you see a lot of small trucks coming in, working in and around the homes, you might not get power at that moment, but we've made it ready so that when we bring the main line back, those individual customers will be ready. Just for a brief moment, I'll just touch on Weatherhead. Are you okay with that? So I just want to make sure that everybody is aware, if you don't have power, a lot of you are in a neighborhood, you say, my whole neighborhood came back on my house. Good. One thing you want to go out is look at your Weatherhead. This is the point where you receive power from NES. Our service wire would come in, attach here, typically above the roof line or right near the roof line. From this point down, this is the customer's responsibility. So this would be the Weatherhead, the riser pipe, meter base. If this is damaged, if it's pulled away from your home, if it's pulled away and the lines are sagged down, you're going to need to call a licensed electrician, have them come out, stabilize this. It may be that it can be reattached to your home.
Let's focus on what's a you problem.
Service. If they have to replace anything,
yeah, we need to get to the Q&A.
If they have to replace the conductor,
this is
you'll
so
have to go through and get an
tone-deaf.
electrical release.
Y'all are so tone-deaf.
On our website, we can show you how to do that. We have a series of numbers you can call depending on which city or where in the city you're located. And then once you've gotten that electrical release,
y'all
it'll
just
notify
don't
us, and we'll know
get
you're
it.
ready to receive power. We'll come back out and we'll connect you. So just want to make sure that everybody who, if you do have damage, you can go ahead and be dealing with that if we haven't gotten to you yet. So does that cover it?
That's excellent, Brandon. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to be able to provide that information to our customers so they can be evaluating what they may need to do and if they have any damage. So in closing, those without power are our top priority. We are working around the clock to get customers restored. And we've made a lot of progress in recent days, but we still have about 15,000 customers out of power that we are working very hard to get back on. Our promise is to continue that for these customers, and we will keep you updated and continue collaborating with all of our restoration partners until we get this successfully completed.
All right, please raise your hand and we'll take questions. We'll start here, then here.
So customers and now even the Speaker of the House in Tennessee are calling for the resignation of NES management. Do you believe you and other NES executives should resign from your positions after this incident?
Accountability is important, and right now we are in active recovery, but we have plenty of time to do after action review and evaluate things that we could have done better.
Speaking of things you could have done better, I've been looking at an audit, and I want to just give you a chance to talk about that. The audit talks about did NES do enough when it comes to vegetation management, tree trimming, prior to this storm, and it said unforeseen challenges prevented trimming sufficient miles in 2025. There was also a budget cut of $7 million. So did NES do enough on things like tree trimming prior to this storm?
Tree trimming has always been an integral part of our power maintenance program. So we've had a pretty aggressive tree trimming program for years. We actually have not cut the budget. The budget has increased every year over the last
Not
4
according to
years.
y'all.
We're spending, I think, $21.6 million this year on tree trimming.
It was $13 million. You're saying you did not cut the budget?
We did not cut the budget for tree trimming. It has increased every year for the last 4 years.
And you think you did enough?
That's not what their own figures
I know
say.
we have an active tree trimming program, and I personally have not evaluated the miles we've trimmed, but we have certainly been aggressively trimming trees.
Okay, we're going to go here. Then.
I bet you're going to go somewhere else.
Austin Robosso with the Tennessean. Per one of my colleagues, according to your annual reports, though, you spent 33% less dollars on contract trimming grass from 2023 to 2025, from $21.28 million down to $14.298 million, respectively. So, clarify, I don't really understand how, kind of stemming from that line of questioning, how that represents an increase, right? Unless, can you clarify, is that a different number than what you're talking about? Or?
It is a different number that I'm talking about. The budgeted number was really the question, and we have not cut the budget in tree trimming. It has increased over every year over the last 4 years. Now, I am aware there was a change in vendor a few years ago that I believe probably resulted in more favorable pricing than was previously in place, but the budget itself has not been touched. It's increased.
If you're under budget, why not spend additional money to get more trees trimmed?
There may be a plan to trim more trees. I mean, I don't know that we weren't trimming additional trees in that case.
Last year you were $4 million. You said $18 million budget. You
Dig a
only
hole,
spent
lady.
$14 million on tree trimming. What could that $4 million have done? How many trees could you have trimmed with that didn't get trimmed?
Well, as I've stated, tree trimming is a critical part of what we do, and we do have a very robust vegetation management program.
Okay, we have some other
What's your
folks.
updated timeline on getting all power restored for the customers?
We have, to provide information to our customers, we have the restoration estimates on the website. I believe the current date for that full completion is the 9th. We are working aggressively to try to beat that. We have even more crews joining tomorrow. As I stated earlier, we have 1,800 line workers on our system right now, the most that's ever been on the NES system, and we are adding more over 100 tomorrow.
I have a clarifying question. Are you saying that there's improvement now because you are hiring more linemen from the last press conference?
There are a variety of reasons why we could be seeing some improvement.
Right. Is one of those reasons that you have more linemen now from the last press conference?
Certainly,
great question.
adding line workers can help with your
Have you
time.
done so?
We have added line workers throughout our restoration process as we've been able to safely integrate
Then the
them
follow-up
into our
is,
system.
then why weren't they
My
there to begin
question
with?
Really then is, if you are now able to add more linemen, how are you able to do so when the last press conference it was stated that you were not able to do so because it would be dangerous and they have to be able to
Get 'em, lady,
and
whoever you are.
understand all of the equipment, all of the different grids and all of those things. What has changed that now you are able to hire more
Mm-hmm.
linemen, and why wasn't that the case earlier? That's my specific question.
I think what was stated at the last press conference was we were scaling our workforce. So we were gradually adding line workers as we were able to safely absorb them. So we are simply adding them as part of a plan where we're scaling up.
And are you continuing to scale up then to make the process even faster? What are we looking at? What can we tell the customers that are cold? What can we tell the ones that have children that they don't have a place to shower before school? I'm just wanting to make sure that we're giving this information accurately of how quickly we're getting more linemen.
Sounds like a
and when they're
reporter whose
able to
lights are
live
still
comfortably
off.
Again, because it's been a very long
Love it.
process. I come from a cold state originally, and I just have to be honest. People are dying and people are really hurt at this time. So what can we tell them when it comes to the response of the linemen?
We have an incredible amount of concern for our customers who are out of power and want them restored as quickly as possible. So in recent days, we added 500 linemen yesterday. We have additional linemen we're adding tomorrow. So we are, as we can safely absorb them, we are flooding our system with them. And I think what we talked about the other day was that we have to have someone that is trained on hazardous energy control on our system that can lead the line workers around. We can't just dump them in our system and let them go. System control can't see them. They need clearances from system control. So someone has to be trained on that to lead them. So we had brought additional people in and done an expedited training on hazardous energy control so we could deploy more linemen.
Okay, we're gonna go here, then over here, and here, and
Thank you. Some residents are saying they're having an easier time putting out signs and getting faster responses than using online responses. Why is that? And what is the workflow like for your online inquiries? Is that true?
For online, we are aware of all of our customers who are without power. And Brandon mentioned something a moment ago that I think is important. You have a lot of customers now that may be the only one in their neighborhood that's out, where they've had their weatherhead damaged and they've had to have an electrician come out. So they're somewhat isolated. We had been getting the large outages restored. Until we were able to get all of our high voltage lines restored, we were focused on those. We now are kind of splitting the workforce and retooling to have smaller crews to go address those one-off customers and that are kind of by themselves in their neighborhood waiting on power. And they have not been forgotten. We are deploying 2-man crews to go tackle those.
Is putting out signs something you encourage to get a response if a crew is out in a neighborhood? Do you feel like that is an easier way for people to get you guys to come in?
Not necessarily. Our crews are deployed to where they are most needed, and when they're working in an area, they have a schedule of places they're going to be. I heard about the signs yesterday, and I suspect it's that some of them have some sympathy for people and are stopping to help. So I don't encourage it, but it can't hurt.
She doesn't encourage that people have sympathy and they stop to help. Good.
Your internal report?
Oh, the ERM report? Yes.
Yes, exactly. Well, in there, it was highlighted red about the vegetation removal and that sort of thing, but you said that you haven't pulled any money from that. What exactly were they trying to warn you about in that report?
Well, that report is intended to look at all risks of the organization and the impact of those risks.
So you're admitting that tree vegetation is a risk?
Tree vegetation is a risk for all utilities that have, for all utilities that have trees on their system.
But in the report it said, unforeseen challenges prevented trimming sufficient miles in 2025.
Can you explain what those challenges are?
On our tree trimming program, I know that we are on track for this year with our tree trimming.
But you weren't in 2020. This is fiscal year last year. You weren't on track last year.
Are you talking about 2026?
I don't recall that statement, but we are on track with our tree trimming this year.
I wanted to go back to the lineman conversation. We understand you can't just take anyone off the street who says, I'm a lineman, you have to go through the vetting process. How many were rejected in that vetting process? And then also I wanted to ask about the mutual aid. I don't know if they're contracts or agreements that you have. Did you only accept help from linemen that had those mutual aid agreements with you? And is there any type of financial or contractual reason why you would take those linemen first over others who were here and ready and available? Did you push them aside to take the ones that you had agreements with?
The mutual aid process is really important because it's utilities helping other utilities, and there's already a standard contract in place for those. So we can quickly onboard those utilities, those line workers. We know that they have had all of the training and vetting that we need, so we can quickly onboard them. And so we start with them and the contractors that we already have on contract, because you can quickly deploy them.
Did you accept any from outside of those mutual aid contracts?
We did. We have accepted line workers from all over the country.
Okay, we're done here and not do the last two.
Thank you first off for taking our questions. You mentioned in the last press conference that you all were prepared for a snowstorm, not really an ice storm. Can you clarify that? Because NWS, I believe every meteorologist from each station that's in here has said that there's a potential of ice, dangerous ice. So is there a reason why you guys weren't truly prepared for the ice from last week?
Adequate planning for any kind of storm is really important. With regard to this one, we certainly were planning for the predicted weather. As it migrated to being predicted as an ice storm, we were arranging for crews, and we were arranging for an adequate number of crews. We just did not necessarily have them on site.
Why not? Why weren't they on site?
When you have a storm of that magnitude and the forecast is moving quickly and no one really knows where the ice is going to go. A few days prior, it was supposed to go to Memphis. So when it pivoted to
MTE
Nashville,
knew.
we called
Dixon
Memphis
knew.
and said,
Columbia
can we have
knew.
all of your contract
Cumberland
crews
knew.
if it doesn't hit you? So
Duck River
a
knew.
lot of them were sitting in Memphis.
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting her. My apologies.
The first question mentioned the Speaker of the House calling for the resignation of people on the NES leadership. There's also been criticism from the mayor, from the governor. Have you been surprised? How do you respond to some of the criticism you have seen? What were your thoughts about that and the calls for resignation?
As I mentioned earlier, accountability is important, and we are committed to working with all of our community and political leaders.
We were told a couple of years ago when there was ice storm in Antioch and people were without power for
dates that this wouldn't happen again. Why did it happen again?
I'm not aware of what you're referencing.
My last
Sorry.
question is just how do people contact NES to just let them know if there are any more further problems? What's the best way for connecting any issues or any new issues with your company?
You see how nervous she is? Her head shaking.
Issues, power outage issues.
Power outage issues, and maybe they took down a tree outside of their house to make it easier for NES to come that they were told they had to do before they were able to do more work. What's the best form of communication with NES right now?
They can call us. That's the best. If they've had in that situation, if they've had a tree removed, it's best to call us just to make sure that whatever note we had on the account, we're returning to that property to fix it for them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Generally, what's your response to the state legislature wanting to have legislative oversight?
We are committed to working with all of our political leadership.
There's concern that
Oh, she's packing up her papers, everybody.
Prevented more oversight from being in place. Do you guys have lobbyists that are trying to prevent oversight from being passed at the state level?
I'm not aware of that.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's going to wind that up. I don't believe that Teresa Broyles Applin should be allowed to leave the building without gathering her things. That's my takeaway from that press conference. She was not ready for the press conference. She's not ready to be CEO. She's not ready to help people. People are dead. And she does not recognize any responsibility that NES has to that. More on that in a moment. I got to go. It's 58 after the hour on Super Talk.